Hello, welcome back to Artisan Electrics. Jordan here. I've got Reuben with me today. We're doing an EICR. Clients buying the house and they want to know whether the electrics are safe or not. It's quite an old house, so it's going to be interesting to see what we find. And as always, we'll try and take you along with us for the ride. Today's video is sponsored by Theyve. Reuben's got his Theyve hoodie on today. And Theyve is a job management platform for tradespeople like us to help us to get organised, keep on top of our paperwork, invoices, quotes, contacting customers, dealing with inquiries. It's a one-stop platform for everything that you need as a tradesperson who's self-employed or running a business to get organised. So head to the link in the description where you can get 50% off for your first 3 months with Theyve. Let's get into it. So here we are, getting set up on the table. My EICR pouch, which I use, actually this is my main go-to tool pouch, to be honest. I use this all the time, pretty much. Got the iPad there on the table. I'm going to get that set up, tethered from my phone, using the Fluke today. We use various different testers, but Fluke are pretty decent. And here is the board. So we've got a Crabtree SB6000 board, which has 7 circuits, so it looks like we've got a cooker circuit, water heaters, that's probably just immersion heater, maybe even central heating, 2 lighting circuits, we've got an electric shower circuit. All of this is not RCD protected, so straight away I'm thinking consumer unit change probably is going to be needed here. Then we've got 2 socket circuits, which are presumably ring circuits because they're 32 amp circuits, and they are protected by this 30 milliamp RCD. So what I like to do first with an EICR is just run round and just take a look at various things in the house, just to get my bearings a little bit first of all, and to see kind of, you know, what we might expect, or see if there's anything glaringly obvious. So first of all, we'd look for the main bonding. So we've got the main bond to the gas here, which is indeed a 10mm bond, and it's got a nice solid connection and it's all labelled up, so that's good. This is our main incoming cable, which is one of those old lead cables with an oiled sheath, and the main earth terminal here is literally just the clamp, so that's not really ideal. So I might put that down as a C3 because you can't disconnect individual conductors, you'd have to disconnect the whole lot, and that's not really great. But basically you've got your gas bond going down to there, then you've got another, they're both 10mm by the looks of it, or maybe, no, I think this might be a 16. So we've got 10mm going up here. In fact, they both go into the board, but then one of the 10mm comes through and goes out the top as well, so presumably that is for the water bond. And I think we found the water stopcock, it was in here, so we should be able to see that bond. Yep, that bond is coming down here and going onto the water pipe. It's actually an old lead pipe. If I get my torch, I'll show you. So you've got an old lead water pipe here with the main stopcock, and then you've got copper coming out into the into the water meter, and then out of the top of the water meter, and this is where the main bond is. Now it's a bit of a rubbish connection, but what they've done is they looped from one side to the other just to continue the continuity across the water meter, and then that's our main bonding conductor coming in from the consumer unit presumably. So that's fine, not really got any problems with that. It's not the most beautiful bonding connection, but I've seen a lot worse, and it probably has electrical soundness at least, but we'll do a test on it. Just looking around the property, so we're in the kitchen now. A couple of hideous old ceiling lights, but you know, nothing wrong with that. It's an old property. We've got a cooker point here, so we'll do an R1 and R2 test there, and I'll probably just link out back at the board to do that. A little bit of an excessive use of extension leads here. We've got these splitters, one double socket here which has got a 4-way splitter on it, and then we've got another splitter which is coming off that. And you can imagine the scenario here, which is that they'll probably plug in like a kettle, a toaster, you know, coffee machine, all that kind of stuff trailing off these extension leads. So I might make a comment about excessive use of extension leads or lack of adequate number of socket outlets in the kitchen. You've got this one as well, which is directly above the hob, the gas hob, which is not ideal because it's going to get heat. Even though this flips up and it kind of protects it, it's still not really ideal. So I would make a note about that, but it's only a C3 and we can just unplug that. What I'll get you to do, Reuben, if I may, is just run around and just unplug anything that you can find that's plugged into any of the sockets. Just go around, unplug everything. Because that'll just disconnect any loads from the circuit, and that means that we're not testing any appliances that are plugged in, we're just testing the fixed wiring. Is that okay?
Yeah, cool.
Perfect. So, toilet baton holder, pull switch is a little bit painted in, but no major problem with that. This is all a bit damp. Looks like it's a lean-to extension that they've built here. So you've got a light switch, which is a little bit loose, that light switch, but it does work. Socket, then you've got a switch fuse connection unit. I presume that's for something in here, or was for something in here maybe. So you've got a hole going through the wall. I'm guessing that there might have been a washing machine or a tumble dryer, well, probably a tumble dryer, not a washing machine, because there's no water connection. But there might have been a tumble dryer in there. Don't know what that switch is. And I don't know, but we can take these off and have a look. What else we got? So, got another cupboard here. Here's a boiler, so presumably that will be the radial circuit, the 16 amp that says water heater. So we can do a test there. We'll get the cover off that and do R1 and R2 test. Doesn't look too bad, fairly decent new boiler at least. Good old Valent. So through here, like I always like to just flick the light switches on, just check through everything. We've just got a couple of socket outlets and stair lift. It's a bit of a weird place for the stairs, this. Let's go up and see what's going on upstairs. I bet there's not much stuff actually plugged in, is there, Reuben? But what you can do is, like, when you see a switch like this, you can turn that off as well, because that is powering this up, and we don't want to be testing that when we're doing the test. So we turn off any switches like that that have got a fuse. It's what we call a switched fuse connection unit, and it's basically like a hardwired version of having something plugged in. So bathroom here. Light looks decent, IP rated, 2D fitting. Got a fan which looks a little bit blocked up and it's a bit noisy, but it works. Shaver, light, electric shower, pull switch. Face is a little bit loose, we'll get that off and have a look at it, but it does seem to work. And then this heater, which is full of dust, but it does work. So that's good. Lights by windows. Now, when I see lights by windows, that always tells me sort of the age of the wiring and that it's not been rewired since it was originally built. So I would say that this is probably 1970s, this property. And it's probably not been rewired, so the wiring itself is going to be fairly old, but probably not out of its usable life. So we've got the same here. And what I'll do with this one, because it's not painted in, is I'll take it off and have a look. So you see we've got fairly decent wiring. We've got earths in the wiring, so it looks pretty decent really. Again, there's only one double socket in here. For a modern bedroom, that is not really adequate, so I would make a note of that. Here we've got a little box room. Again, just one light and one socket. Not ideal. And what we'll do is we'll get the loft hatch open and just see. I'll have to get the step ladder in and have a look up in the loft. We've got a power cable here which is loose, which is presumably a shower cable, which somebody's added later. So that needs commenting on the fact that that's not clipped. And we've got this here. Single insulated conductors visible outside of an enclosure, so that will go down as a C2, I would say. That'll need to be sorted. Floorboard up as it's already been taken up. We can see our bonding conductor. Just interesting, this is next to a pipe. It has been getting a little bit hot, but it's not too bad. So already you can see, just from having a little look around, we've already found quite a few observations that we need to note down on the report, and that's before we've even started testing yet. So that's why it's always good to do visual inspection first. It's inspection and testing, not testing and inspection. Smoke alarm, we'll give that a try. That does work. Ooh, that is loud. Yeah, okay. And would you be able to grab the step ladder from the car?
Yep.
If I give you my phone, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get into the car.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just stand next to the car with the phone, then it'll let you in. And it's just in the back seat, step ladder. Right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off everything in the board and just do some checks in the board, and then if I can get you to go to the furthest points on several circuits and just take the covers off. So for example, we've got 2 socket circuits, so if you can take off a couple of socket faces upstairs, just unscrew them, and then a couple of sockets downstairs, we can just do a visual check on those. If you can take the cover off this one as well, that'll be good. Then we can just have a look behind there. In here there's a switch for the boiler, you can take that one off. And in through there's like a row of switches, you can take one of those off. And then upstairs in the airing cupboard there's a switch in there, you can take that one off as well, I think. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'll just turn everything off. Do the RCD test button on here as well. So everything that you take off should be dead, but I'll give you that just to make sure. In fact, has Corey showed you how to use that yet?
No, he hasn't.
Naughty. Okay. You hold the camera, I'll hold this, and I'll show you how to use this. We've got our proving unit here somewhere, hopefully. Okay, no. I think Corey's got my proving unit, so I'll just show you how to. I'll show you how to do it using a known supply. Where's my screwdriver gone? I had a large flat screwdriver in my pocket. I probably took it out and put it in the side pocket of the car, didn't I?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, so we take the board cover off, but whenever you're working around electricity you want to minimise risk, so you want to just make sure that things are dead. Right. And you should never believe somebody else when they tell you it's dead. So like, I've turned all those off, I can tell you it's dead and I'm pretty confident that it is, but you shouldn't believe me, you should check for yourself. So let's get our uni light up here, and then we've got a bit of light. So these are what we call the main tails coming in. These are feeding the main power into the consumer unit, and they go into the top here. There's this little live terminal cover with a little warning sign on. Right. So I can take that off, and then I can test using my tester. I can see that there's voltage there. It says 230, that means it's got 230 volts. Right. And then if I test from there, from neutral to earth, and then line to earth, so I've got voltage line to earth as well. Right. So I've turned the main switch off and all these breakers off, so this should all be dead. But that's what I want to just verify now, is that actually that the main switch is working properly. So if I test from the neutral bar here to that terminal, there's no power, so that's good. Neutral to earth, live to earth, there's no power, so everything here is dead basically. Those are the only terminals that are live, and we can put that little cover back on. But I want to just check my tester again to make sure it's not broken in between.
Right.
So it still works, so that's fine. So we know our tester works, and then we know that this part is all dead, so it's safe for us to work on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put this little cover back on here. And we are good to go. So I'll let you go and take some of those covers off, but take that with you, and then when you take a cover off something, just bob your tester on it and just check to see if it's live or not. Because I might turn it back on just for fun, just to electrocute you. So first thing I'm going to do is just check all the tightness of all the terminals, just to make sure that everything is tightened as it should be, and there's no burning or anything like that. That's always something that we look out for. Make sure that there's no signs of burning or loose connections or anything like that. We've twisted these conductors together, which is not great, so we'll have to untwist those probably. Check the bus bar connections. Some of them are a little bit loose, so that's cool. So Reuben's just been wrestling to get this one off, and as you can see, it's basically kind of painted in. And almost grouted in actually. So what I do is I get a nice sharp knife and just go around the edges with the knife. Just scrape off any excess paint or grout, and that should be enough to be able to get it off without ripping half the wall off. Try that, Reuben. Yeah! There we go. Fantastic. Wow, now that's a bit of a bodge.
Yeah.
So what they've done here, well, you've got lots of insects in the back of here, which is a bad sign. There's a big void behind there. But what they've done is they've just put a plastic surface box in instead of a proper recessed box.
Right.
Which is just makes it look like a bit of a DIY job, really. And it's a spur, so it's spurred off something. Goodness knows where it's spurred off from. Maybe this one. So you might want to just take that one off as well. Just have a little look. This is a cooker while we're doing this. So the cooker is you've got a feed in. It's a 10mm, but there's nothing going out. So this cooker switch is actually not in use because they've obviously changed to a gas cooker at some point. So that's an old redundant one from when they were using the electric cooker, which is no longer in use, but we'll still test it anyway just to check that the wiring is okay. So I use Vespula for my certification software, which has just been bought by Mega, interestingly. And look, on the home page of Vespula, look who it is. I made a video for them a while ago demonstrating how to use this software. Check it out if you're interested in how to fill out an EICR form. It's an hour-long video that goes very much into depth on how I do an EICR, how I fill it all out and stuff. But I can just log in here on my iPad, and then I can get cracking with starting the paperwork. Now when it comes to guessing the age of an installation, generally the more experience you've got, the easier you probably find it to guess the age, but I would say that this is, as I said earlier, probably a 1970s house, and this is the original wiring, so I'm guessing it's about 40 years old. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I guess there's going to be some of you guys out there who were fitting these SB6000 boards originally, and you will probably remember exactly the year that you started fitting them. Interesting, it's a metal board as well, so the front cover is plastic, but the actual casing is metal. So we've come full circle really from fitting metal boards to fitting plastic ones to back fitting metal ones again. Quite ironic really. Horizontal top surface of the board is something that we always need to check, and I never like to see cables just coming out of the horizontal top surface without any kind of proper compression glands or anything. So you can see here there's quite a few holes, gaps. It's definitely not IPXXB or IP4X. It's, you know, you could get a wire in there, definitely. You can't get a full finger in there, but you can definitely get a wire in there. So I would say that that's going to be a C2 for that as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, I very sillily was trying to guess the age of the installation and then realised that there's a label on here. And if you can just about see it, it says last inspection 1986 and then next due 1996. 3rd of September 1986. So this install was completed about 3 months after I was born, because I was born in June 1986. So that means that it is 34 years old, this installation. So I can put that quite accurately on the report, which is nice. And I wonder if Graham D. Barber is still around. It's got a very old phone number on there. So that phone number is definitely not accurate anymore. So in terms of details of the supply, it is a TNS system because the earth is provided from the sheath of the cable. That's just a little note there to make. These are 16mm tails, so that is probably a 60 amp main cutout fuse, but I can't really see. Oh, it's got a little label there saying 60 amps, so we'll trust what it says on there. Quite a nice old vintage cutout actually. It's in very good condition really, considering its age. There's lovely wooden stoppers at the bottom and everything. Very quite a beautiful thing really. They don't make them like they used to. Now, because of this being the main earth terminal, I don't want to mess around with that, because if I screw that I could end up blowing this main cable. So I can't do true ZE on this because I can't disconnect all the bonding conductors. So all I can do is do ZDB really, which I will do, and then I'll put a limitation to say true ZE could not be obtained because of inability to disconnect main bonding conductors, something like that, and that'll do. So actually I've just done it and we've got 0.28 for RZDB. So to do R1 and R2, I love these little jump leads. I'll leave a link in the description for these. You can just put a link between the CPC and the line on the particular circuit that you're working on, and then you can just go to the other end and just do your test. One thing I like to do as well, as you can easily do with these jump leads, is just do a jump lead to the neutral terminal as well, and then just do RN, R1, R2, RN. So you're just measuring to see basically if the resistance on the neutral is the same as the resistance on the live or line, because that way you know if there's a loose connection on the neutral anywhere as well. And it's super easy to do. You just move your jump lead over to the neutral terminal and just test that at your end point as well. It's quick and easy to do, but it's a nice little check even if you're not writing it on the certificate. Also, shout out to this Jackery power bank again. It's absolutely awesome. My uni light's just run out of battery because I forgot to charge it, but I can just plug it in now to this and I've got power, so it's amazing, and it's 92%. I've got power all day with this. I'll leave a link in the description where you can get one of these. I have made another video about it, so I'll leave a little card up here somewhere for that. Just a little observation when I'm testing this is that it's new cabling, but it's old cabling coming out of the consumer unit, and I'll show you what's happened. Basically they've installed a central heating system here later on, and they've run the power from the old immersion heater point, which is up in the old immersion heater cupboard. I'll show you that and you can see what I mean. So in here you've got the cable coming from the consumer unit, which they have kind of put a junction box on here, so I'm not sure what else they've done. They've obviously spurred off of it for something else as well. but it goes through here. So they've sort of just used this to splice into it. It goes up here into the old water heater point. So that was obviously an immersion heater cupboard at some point. They've ripped out the pipes. You can see the pipes there hanging out in the back of the cupboard, just not being used anymore. And then what they've done to power the boiler is they've just taken a brand new twin and earth up here into the loft, through the loft and down over there, down to where the boiler is. So yeah, I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's just a bit of a weird way of doing it, because this is basically just the junction box now. It's not actually doing anything. This is a junction box, and obviously they've spurred off of it to do something, which I'm not sure what. Oh, probably the stair lift. Yeah, that'll be what that's for, I guess. But you've got trunking going to the stair lift, so I'm not sure. Actually, they might have. Yeah, okay, so actually this might be for the stair lift, and then the one that's going down there, that might be for the boiler. But we can check, we can do an R1 and R2 test at the stair lift and see if that is fed off the boiler circuit as well. So can you get that cover off, Reuben, please?
Yeah.
How's the shower looking?
I'm not sure if the tester was being a bit weird, but it went all the way up.
Yeah, that's fine, that's just the continuity setting. Okay. So you see, you hold it on for a minute and then it just jumps down with the RX.
I had a feeling, because I didn't think that could have like 700 volts or whatever.
No, exactly, yeah. I'd be worried if it did. That shower would not last very long. Yeah, but those connections look okay, so that's cool. We'll leave those off and I'll do a test here. I'll just turn this on so that that is feeding all the way through, and then I'll do an R1 and R2 test at the shower. So I found sort of evidence of some DIY bodgery going on here, because this is the switch for this light up here, right? But they've wired it in 2.5, which is just not done by any sensible electrician, because these cables are so thick and you don't need to. It is wired off the lighting circuit, but it's wired in 2.5. So that straight away says to me, DIY, whoever put this extension piece up, it's been doing a bit of DIY. I mean, this is weird as well. Oh, there's a spider in there. Corey would like that. The spider's got his little house in there. He just went inside. But anyway, then you've got this socket, and then you've got this switch fuse connection unit, which then feeds this light switch, which then goes through here, up here, through there, through the wall, and feeds an outside light with like a PIR on, which you can probably not see. But yeah, again, it's just all been done a bit of a weird, bodgy kind of way. So indicates to me that probably it was a DIY jobby here, and indicated by the whole building was probably done by a DIY, because it's all full of damp. So it was just done as a temporary structure, I should imagine, never really intended to last very long, and as you can see, it's a bit of a mess, unfortunately. These kind of light fittings are what I call electrician death traps. I've just discovered an electrician death trap, Reuben. This weighs like a ton.
Oh, really?
And if you drop that pendant down, the whole thing is suspended on some tiny little bits of copper in here, yeah. And the whole thing could just so easily shatter. It's all glass, so I'm not gonna take this one off, just because I just don't want to risk breaking the whole thing. It's a hideous thing. But yeah, whoever had to put that up, I feel sorry for them. Right, so I'm just absolutely cursing the person who twisted the earths together when they put these circuits in. It's really annoying, because testing the ring continuity on the CPCs is just a nightmare when they do that. So I'm trying to pull the sleeving off, but I'll never get it back on. And there's a bit of a debate going on. Somebody said to me, you shouldn't test the ring continuity at the socket. So like here, you can easily separate the conductors and then test it here. But the issue is that if you put the socket cover back on and one of the wires pulls out when you do that, then technically you could have a broken ring and you wouldn't know about it. Now I think that's a bit over the top, to be honest. It's very unlikely that the wire's going to pull out when you put the socket face back on, but I understand where they're coming from. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. I would love to know. I'm going to try and get the sleeving off here, just so that I can do it here anyway, and just try to be a good boy, but yeah, it's a bit of a pain. Right, so I managed to get the sleeving off there, and now we're doing the R1 and R2 test by doing the cross connection between the CPCs and the lines, each side of the ring, so that we've got a continuous figure of 8 loop all the way around. And then we're going to go with our plug-in tester and just test every socket and see what readings we get. Right, so ring circuit here tests out fine, so that's good. Basically they've done one ring for the whole house apart from the kitchen. So then this one is for the kitchen, and it's weird because it's only one socket on the ring, and then there's a spur off that socket. So this one here is on the ring, that one there is a spur, and then there's another spur. This is why we've got 3 cables here twisted together. There's another spur that comes out, goes down here, down through the wall, and it just does a socket on the other side of the wall here. So there's actually only 3 points on that kitchen ring, and only one of them is actually on the ring, which seems a bit pointless really, to run 2 2.5s to one socket. But that's the way they did it originally. Very strange. So I always like to have a quick look up in the loft. It's a bit dark up here and my unit light's died, but you can see there's a cable for the shower here just trailing along over the floorboards. There's an old TV cable. There is a light up there, but it's not in use. I think it's probably just on a plug top or something. That's about it really here, not a lot to see. Not a lot to see. Yeah, there's the plug top for the light. So we are done. The installation is unsatisfactory because of various things. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess and it just needs a bit of upgrade. So we'll make recommendations to the customer. Certainly consumer unit upgrade is in order, and probably adding some extra sockets and things like that. But I would imagine that as they're just about to buy this, they're going to renovate the whole place anyway. Reuben's been a good help. Thank you, Reuben.
Nice.
The master of taking off sockets and putting them back on again. That is the life of a trainee apprentice. So thank you for your help. We're going to jump over to the next job now. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. It's free, and 67.2% of you haven't subscribed, and that's not good enough. So subscribe, hit a thumbs up if you like the videos, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.